Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Tank Observers podcast. I'm Jackson McCarty, as always, joined by my co-host Chris Barr. And Chris, what are we doing today?
Well, today we are doing the defensive picks for the 2010s All Bust team.
Yes, sir.
And I gotta say, I'm looking forward to it. It is going to be a hilarious list full of names that you may not even recognize because, well, that's just how big a bust they were.
Yeah, it's we've already done the opposite side of the ball here on the offensive side. Our last episode. Feel free to check that out as always on the channel, on Spotify, on Stitcher. Really, pick your poison. But for now, we're gonna go ahead and move forward. Topher, give us our first, not only first defensive player, but our first edge prospect that we're using.
Well, our first edge prospect was he decided to we're opening big here.
Yes.
With the third overall pick of the 2013 draft. Deion Jordan, drafted by the Miami Dolphins, just never came to be what he was supposed to. He was just an athletic, just dominant size. He was supposed to be just that dude.
Right.
He was just a massive human. And I guess they thought his play would translate, and it didn't. He was just not the guy. He's had a little bit of a resurgence. He's still in the league, which is uncommon for this list.
Got a sack on, I believe Dwayne Haskins was in the game whenever he got his sack.
He's got 3 sacks this season playing for San Francisco, and he's taken over for Nick Bosa, and he's actually had a bit of an edge presence. So,
Yeah, more
power to him. Making that transition.
More love to these guys because obviously we don't want to see them fail.
Never.
But we need something to talk about, and they give us a lot to talk about in the absence of a lot of stats.
Yes, they give us something to talk about in being just players that never lived up to their position.
One note about Deion, I found it hilarious that when we were writing the show, I was watching the Niners and Washington game, and he got the sack, and I was just like, this feels like his sort of retribution to us putting him on the list. He's like, you know what?
Deserves it.
He's like, I still play football,
I
guys.
mean, who else could we have put? There's plenty, but
There's plenty of options, but his running mate that we decided on was the 26th overall pick out of 2014, one Mr. Marcus Smith. And if you don't remember that name, don't worry. You are not the only one, not even the only one present to the podcast, because I don't remember who he was. But regardless, he has 6.5 sacks and 25 total tackles in 4 years.
Yes, 4 years. The thing is, he was drafted in 2014. He's been out of the league for 2 years.
Once he got done and they said, we're not taking your 5th-year option, he's like, all right, I guess I'm out.
Well, he didn't really make that decision, I'm sure. I'm sure that was the league's decision, being like, so what can we get out of him? He didn't have that chance that Deion Jordan had to come back after the Raiders decided to sign Deion Jordan.
Right.
Marcus Smith never had that second wind that Deion got.
No. And, I mean, you think about the guys like Deion Jordan and those top-heavy picks, those top 5 guys that never worked out. Sometimes later in the first round is just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah, we have a couple of guys like that. And even outside of the first round, the 3rd pick in the 2nd round, 35th overall in 2017, Malik McDowell. The Seahawks seem to be missing on D tackles, but in 2017 they really swung hard. And man, the harder the swing, the sillier you look when you miss. Malik McDowell never made it onto an NFL field to play a game because he decided to assault a police officer and spend 11 months in jail before he got the opportunity to. So Malik McDowell has yet to record a stat in the NFL. Apparently he's looking to come back. I don't know what his odds are of doing that since no one ever saw him play. So Malik McDowell never saw the NFL field, and I said they miss on D tackles. LJ Collier misses this by about a year.
Right.
Because it's not looking like the first-round pick that he was, but he is not the one running alongside Mr. McDowell. Why don't you tell us who that is, Jackson?
Just before I do, to touch on the LJ Collier thing, you're
yes.
exactly right. He's 2019. That's a bit too young to pull the plug on yet, but 2016 sure isn't. The 29th overall, one Mr. Robert Kimdichie. He played 4 years in the NFL. He amassed 4.5 sacks. That is just over a sack a season. And it's just not great. He hasn't gotten a snap this year. He spent those 4 years in Arizona Then he went to, I believe, Miami.
It was Miami. Miami decided to pick him up after he was waived.
Hung out around palm trees for about 2 weeks, and they said, nah, it's not looking right.
2016 was hard on all those Ole Miss boys. We saw what happened with Quan Treadwell. I don't know if he's on a team. Last I checked, I'm pretty sure he spent some time with the Raiders, but
Maybe.
I really don't know. Kimdichie, we know where he was because he made it onto this list. And frankly, we had a 2016 boy, Corey Coleman. He actually got the pick over Laquan Treadwell, who was certainly on my mind when we were making this list.
But Corey Coleman, he just kind of captured the imagination with how weird and wild his story got at times.
For real. I really don't. Yeah.
But enough about Corey Coleman. If you haven't heard a little bit about what we have to say, go back to that other episode, folks. But, Topher, tell us who the linebacker is for this squad.
Happily, one of my favorite players out of this draft class, Mr. Stephon Anthony, started all 16 games as a rookie. And he had a decent rookie showing. He played well. He was damn near on the all-rookie team at linebacker. And then he started 4 games in his second season. Then he started no games. And then slowly but surely he worked his way out of the NFL, amassing only 97 tackles, 1 sack, and 1 pick. He had a scoop and score a touchdown off of a blocked kick, but that was the most exciting his career ever got, as he is currently a free agent and not on a team.
As exciting as his career ever got, really just kind of broke my heart a little bit there.
He breaks my heart. I was really rooting for him. I'd always draft him in Madden, but
he had a Michael Carter Williams type of career.
He was Michael Carter Williams of the NFL.
Even Michael Carter Williams is still on a roster.
I can't believe he's not. I was a big Stephon Anthony guy.
You'd think he'd have some kind of spot, especially after that first year.
Of course, but it doesn't always work out that way. Look at Kiko Alonso.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't know what happened to Kiko, but he was so good when he was with the Bills. Then he got traded to the Eagles for shady, but we're not talking about him today.
We are not talking about Kiko Alonso.
Yeah.
Let me introduce you guys to the first member of the secondary, the first cornerback on this roster from the 2013 draft class.
Oh, boy.
9th overall selection. Welcome to the squad, D. Milner.
Getting back to those early boys.
The Jets, they weren't all that. He was actually pretty close to the Sanchez. He had an opportunity to make some noise, but in his time spent there from 2013 to 2016, he couldn't quite figure it out. He had 3 picks, which kind of impressive, because at least you're doing something.
Yeah, he made a little noise. I'll be honest. He just never had it.
No, and combining with his issues in coverage and some very not top 10 plays all throughout his career, he had a nagging Achilles injury that ended his 3rd season early and I believe completely eliminated his 4th season. I might be a bit wrong on the window there, but it just kept recurring and his on-field production wasn't enough to wait around. He wasn't like Derwin James, for example, who is very banged up, but you don't want to quit on him because you know what you have on the field is special.
Yeah.
He wasn't offering that. And since he got released, he has not found an NFL home, unfortunately enough.
Yeah, he was another one. That's the funniest thing about these busts is what happens to them in Madden. Their overall slowly drops in the free agency until they're like, okay, so they're just not going to get signed.
This is like, we got to take
They
him
just
out.
wait until they retire.
D. Milner was one of the more fun ones to do that for in Madden.
Yes, because he was never like so old that you were like, yo, I can still do something.
And he's got a huge frame, and all his speed rating was good. His coverage ratings were not awesome, but if you used him, it didn't matter.
Yeah, he's just one of those fun dudes in Madden. Another one of those guys, just because of how massively athletic he was, is his running mate on the other side of the field, the 8th overall pick in 2014, Justin Gilbert. Yes, another one that just had a massive frame. He was like 6'1", 193 or something around there.
Somewhere there.
Lasted 3 years in the NFL though. He was another one that just had one awesome highlight play. Pick 6, Andrew Luck, one of the greatest quarterback prospects in NFL history. Yep. Pick 6 them. Wasn't enough to save his career since he spent only 2 years with the Browns before being traded over the offseason. If the Browns didn't want you back in 2015, then you seriously had something going on because they sent him to the Steelers. He started 0 games, played 12 weeks, got cut, and hasn't been rostered in the NFL since 2016.
That's as big of a warning sign as you're going to get if you're another team looking at these guys. Well, what do we think about Justin Gilbert? Oh, the Browns cut him after 2 seasons. The team that's about to go 0-16. It's like,
Yeah,
we'll avoid that.
That's what's going on there.
It's like, well, yeah, we'll miss out on all that.
Just as a frame of reference, this guy was drafted in the same class as Johnny Manziel.
Yes.
And when your best pick, it comes in the second round, and you had 2 firsts, the Browns were in serious trouble around that time.
Yes, very much so. But, Topher, go ahead and introduce us who's going to be directly behind them. Who's the first safety?
The first safety, the 32nd pick. And these next 2 are later first-rounders and a second-rounder. You don't have to be a first-round pick to be a bust.
No.
It's way more common on the offensive side of the ball. But in 2013, this guy was gifted to the Ravens by a Ray Lewis Super Bowl championship. The Ravens, with the 32nd selection in the 2013 draft, take Matt Elam, who really did nothing. He wrapped up his career in 3 seasons, 26 starts in 41 games, 131 total tackles, and a whole pick. That's it. That's his whole career. He didn't do much.
It concluded right then. It was
Very
done.
quickly. Wasn't that special. He was just, I don't know what the hype was around him. I was surprised that he got drafted in the first round. But the Ravens went with him, and I really didn't have much to go off of here because he spent very little time in the NFL.
Yeah, and
wasn't much going on.
See, that's why the All Steals team, those videos will be much more extensive because we'll get to hit on so many accolades. These guys, obviously, the reason that they're on this list is because of their lack of accolades.
Yes, when it comes to All Steals team, we have 6th rounders that are all pros, and we have 5th round receivers that have made it to multiple Pro Bowls and have multiple 1,000-yard seasons. On the all bust team, we have receivers that's played in 17 total games and got no touchdowns. While it's a little bit funnier, it's like there's not much to discuss. Like, they got to the NFL, they left the NFL in 2 years.
Yeah, it's who are you going to be able to talk more about? Julian Edelman's career or Kevin White's career?
Yeah, Kevin White, 17 games, less than 300 yards, less than 30 catches. It's not thrilling.
Wasn't great, but to finish up the defense, I'm going to present the second safety. The 56th overall pick out of 2017, and maybe my favorite player on this list because, quite frankly, we got to play him 4 times. Loved the fact that he was on the Cowboys because it helped. It helped not having a real and legitimate player back there at safety. We're talking about Obi Melifonwu, whose brother is in the 2021 draft class, potentially. So
that'll be interesting.
Eyes could be pointed at him, but for now, let's focus on Big Brother. He had 9 tackles in 2 short seasons, 7 games, 1 start, and somehow, someway, he captured a Super Bowl with the Pats.
Yes, he spent like 2 games with the Pats. Apparently, he was on their practice squad or something. But I don't know. He bummed the Super Bowl off of him. I don't know how else to put it. This 6'4" super athlete. That's all he was. He certainly couldn't cover, but he laid the hit stick. He was just a monstrous defensive back. And the Patriots love people that are just athletes. They're like, we'll find something to do with you. So they shoved him on the practice squad, and you won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's just like, sure, whatever. We've given literally 300 or more people a ring this year. Obi, you can have one.
Yeah.
But as we conclude the all bust team, Topher has entered a random selection here for the special teams. And Topher, I'm gonna let you run with this one.
Okay, so I'm sure everyone remembers Sebastian Janikowski being taken in the second round. Yes. Well, he's not the only kicker that's been taken in the second round. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers took Robert Aguayo in the second round.
Yes. Roberto Aguayo.
Roberto Aguayo. And he was with Florida State, I
Yes.
believe. The Florida State kicker. And
The same school as Janikowski.
the same school that Sebastian Janikowski went to.
Yes.
Robert Aguayo also gets taken in the second round. But there's a difference. See, Sebastian Janikowski is recognized as one of the best kickers of all time, had one of the biggest legs. But here's the thing with Aguayo. He wasn't even the most accurate kicker in college football that season and still stole a second-round pick from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I just had to mention it because, sometimes things like that get forgotten. And as long as this video is on YouTube, until YouTube shuts down, no one will be allowed to forget as long as they watch this video. Robert Aguayo, we remember you.
Remember the name, Roberto Aguayo.
Roberto Aguayo.
For now, that is the conclusion of our 2010s all-bust defense and the team as a whole. Let us know where you think where somebody else could have been, where you thought we got wrong, maybe even where you thought we got right. We'd love to hear each and every single one of those, but for now, I'm Jackson McCarty.
And you can always find a powdered wig in a party store.
See you guys next time.
But is he the best player in this draft on his own? Without a doubt. Please show me